I'm going to make a comparison today between mid to late romantic repertoire, I think, and liturgical music. So, a long time ago, I would say years ago, I saw this master class on YouTube given by a pianist I cannot remember the name of, and he was giving it. It's probably really easy to find, by the way. I would strongly recommend going to look at it because the whole thing was just really, it was fun to watch, because even if you don't agree with everything a masterclass teacher is teaching you, you can always walk away with one thing. Even if like you don't like them, period, you can always walk away with one thing, I think, from those experiences. And this one in particular, I personally really liked. And again, this gentleman was doing a master class with young students that were playing probably mid to late romantic repertoire, especially like the cadenzas that were in these pieces of pianistic repertoire. And he was telling them, because they would get really into the keyboard and they'd be really like, hunched over it, kind of shrimping, basically. And he would eventually stop them and say, like, just take a step back and you're just kind of gliding over the keys. It's one of those instances of like, not Black Mirror. Oh my goodness, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, it's a British play, The Woman in Black. The Woman in Black, that's the one. And where she kind of, if you see it live, she like almost floats with the dress she has on and everything. And this is the effect that he's trying to get them to go for on the piano, because what it ends up doing is taking away kind of the harshness of the cadenzas in my oral perception of it, and puts into it like an effortlessness, basically, that makes the notes seem to soar. And I agreed with that in a lot of ways, because I could hear the difference in the two playings. Now, would some people say it like lacked passion in that capacity? I think you definitely could also say that. But it created just this new soundscape, I felt, that was so cool. Okay, but now you're saying, what the heck are you comparing that to in liturgical music? Well, oftentimes in liturgical music, even particularly liturgical music from that same time period, the interpretation's often like, you're really heavy into it. If you're a singer, you're like really digging deep into your diaphragmatic breathing and passing through your appoggiaturas. Or I think it's, I can't remember a lot of these Italian terms anymore, but you're passing through these different registral breaks in ways that feel guttural, right? And I think that is a lot of the times the way that we can approach repertoire, that instead of focusing so much more on what it is that the text is actually giving us, or what the music's affect is really supposed to be from the composer's original interpretation, or interpretations that might be really well educated on the composers, we start to over sentimentalize. I think that would be the way to say it. Over sentimentalize the music itself, to kind of get it to say what it's saying, but how we want it to say it. And I don't think it's necessarily bad to do that, especially if you can make a convincing interpretation. But it is an issue of like, you need to force it, I think, to get something to say that it doesn't naturally say, but it can say it if you get it to say it the way you want it to say it. Because there's force there. You're applying pressure to get it to do what you want it to do, rather than just naturally letting it glide with the natural ebb and flow of the composition itself. This was very long to make that comparison. I'm sure there's a much more succinct way to put it, but I kind of wanted to put all the pieces together to that, because it's really cool when you think about it. Because I think there is a lot of repertoire that we push a lot to get something out of it that we expect, but the only reason we have that expectation is because we believe it needs to say that, or other people have convinced us it needs to say that, when in reality we could do it a completely different way, and it will completely flow in a certain sense that we never expected. That's really it.